A lot has happened since the last time we covered Tekken on this channel. Kazuya became a fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Netflix put out the animated adaptation of Tekken 3 in the form of Tekken Bloodline, and most recently... So yeah, the series has been doing pretty well recently. It's been way too long since I made one of these, and with Tekken 8 on eventual horizon, I figure it's about time to get back into it. And we're starting with one hell of a game right off the bat. The incredible Tekken Tag Tournament. Let us go back to the late 90s when the PlayStation port of Tekken 3 was the hottest game at the time. It was a smash hit, and all eyes were on Katsuhiro Harada and his team at Namco for the follow-up. Around the same time, rumors spread that Sony was in development of a brand new console to succeed their money-printing machine, one with a built-in DVD player and a modem for online play. Enter the PlayStation 2, the console that made the PS1 look like a baby's toy in comparison. Harada's team made the bold decision to develop the next Tekken project for this juggernaut, even though at that point, it wasn't even in existence yet. So, they made an arcade game in 1999 using Tekken 3's engine with the added feature of tagging between two characters at any point in battle. This was Tekken Tag Tournament, or at least the public beta of what would eventually become once the PS2 inevitably drops. And drop it does, as the game went through a major graphical overhaul in between the months of the console's unveiling in that September's Tokyo Game Show. The tech demo brilliantly showcased what the PS2 was capable of in terms of graphics and sound, and everyone wanted to get their hands on that next-gen goodness. The PlayStation 2 launched in Japan on March 4, 2000, with Tekken Tag following 3 weeks later. And Europe and the US got both during the fall, making this a launch title for us. I remember Christmas of that year opening the presents and seeing 2 PS2 games, Crash Bandicoot Throughout the Cortex and Tekken Tag Tournament. At first, I thought my parents made a mistake. There was no way these games would run on our PS1. Then the final gift is pulled from the closet, and there it was, our very own PlayStation 2. I recall very vividly hooking that bad boy up to our massive 64-inch TV and seeing the boot-up screen for the first time, almost as if we were being transported to the future. Then the opening for this game plays, and man, this is still a damn good video game opening. As for the gameplay, I could not put it down because it was just so much fun, dude. That was an awesome Christmas holiday. Tekken Tag Tournament was my first taste of playing games in the 6th generation, and it means a lot to me. So 20 years after that first battle, let's take an honest look at Tekken Tag Tournament. This is a non-canon dream match where characters pair up with each other and do battle with other teams. Almost every character across all 3 titles, except these guys, is present and accounted for, even though the ones from Tekken 1 and 2 don't mesh well with the 3 guys timeline-wise. But that doesn't stop me from maining 22-year-old Jun Kazama and her 19-year-old son Jin.
Red flag!
In the arcade mode, you unlock one of your character's endings depending on how many more knockouts they accumulated in the run than the other. And these endings are really nothing to write home about. They're all done using in-game assets instead of CG cutscenes, but they're so brief that you don't have a lot of time to process what just happened. The sole exception to that rule will probably be the final boss Unknown, who seems to resemble Jun and has Jin's devil tattoo. True to her namesake, Unknown is a complete enigma, and nothing is confirmed about what she is and if she'll stay a non-canon boss. Jumping ahead a bit, Jun Kazama does transform into Unknown in the final battle of Tekken Tag 2, and it's still up in the air if that's an actual thing in the story. But I digress. Point is, she's another mimic character like Mokujin, or Tetsujin if you like Chrome, but she's a stand user, which makes her better objectively. There are 34 playable characters in total, 39 if you count paddle swaps like Panda, Alex, and Angel, making this the largest roster in the series so far. And you have a lot of options when considering your 2-person teams to take in the battle. The big defining feature of Tekken Tag Tournament is, well, tag teams. You select 2 characters and battle the opponent's team with the first selected dudes taking point in one-on-one battles. You still attack with 2 punches and 2 kicks, string button combinations, and block incoming attacks. But if you press R1, your character runs off screen and is at once tagged in with the other in waiting with their own respective health bar. You may also notice this red junk on the health bars up here. If your dude is tagged out, their health will slowly recover up to where the red meter ends, which adds another layer of strategy on top of what Tekken had already set up with mind games, and spacing, and other terms folks in the FGC would say. And depending on your team choice, health increases either speeds up or slows down if your characters like or hate each other in canon, which is a nice touch. Speaking of which, that also influences another mechanic that predates the rage system introduced formally in Tekken 6. If your character gets hit enough times, the health bar will start flashing for a short time, and it grants extra damage on hit. For example, it only takes 4 hits instead of the usual 5 for rage to trigger for my Jin and Jun team, while it doesn't go off at all if Jin is teamed up with Ogre. This thing was responsible for his mother's disappearance after all, so it's natural Jin doesn't care if Ogre gets his ass beat. Now that I think about it, looking at this list to show who goes well with who to trigger rage, most of the cast hate this thing's guts apparently. Everybody hates Ogre, weekdays at 5 PM. Tagging can also be used offensively, as you can perform a tag throw to switch while applying pressure. That or switching out after launching the opponent can extend your combos and deplete replenishable health for each hit. Also, unlike other tag-based games like Marvel vs. Capcom where you win by dropping all the opponent's characters, you take rounds by defeating just one. It may seem like a downgrade in comparison, but it makes health management so much more important. Getting hurt too badly while the opponent gives you no room to tag out can be dire, but dishing out a devastating punish combo feels so satisfying. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. The number of extra modes in Tekken Tag Tournament is insane. If 2v2 isn't your cup of tea, this game's got your back. There's a mode where you can play one-on-one matches, much like the previous entries, and it's just as fun as ever. What if you have a buddy that you enjoy teaming up with? Pair play mode lets up to 4 players each control one character and can freely switch out whenever you want. Though you do need the multi-tap peripheral to play with more than 2 people, the option is still available to you. Not feeling up to fighting right now? Perhaps bowling is up your alley.
Boo! You stink!
Tekken Bowl is a side game where your 2 characters take turns in 10-frame games of bowling. You can move yourself left or right and align these meters at the right time and knock down as many pins as you can. Heihachi trophy heads? I swear, that man has too high of an opinion of himself. Every character has their own weight class, a dominant throwing arm, different throw strengths. There's a lot of depth to an otherwise optional silly mode. And for my money, this is probably my favorite bowling game that isn't on Wii Sports. In terms of its presentation, Tekken Tag is a huge improvement over the last few titles, and showcases what the PlayStation 2 is capable of very well. Gone are the days of blocky character models and 2D backgrounds. Everyone is smoother and more lifelike, and the backgrounds are rendered in 3D, making everything mesh better aesthetically. The music is also really good too. A lot of electronic and swing music that complement the stages to add to battles. And that's Tekken Tag Tournament, folks. As Namco's first showing on the 6th generation, they did a damn good job giving a first impression here. Granted, the game is just a prettier Tekken 3 on the surface, but with the tag mechanics, robust character diversity, and a bevy of extra moves to sink your teeth into, it's something special. It's super simple to pick up and play, but also incredibly rewarding for you to understand the more high-level mechanics. I love this game, and I make it a point to pop it in whenever I can. Over 20 years later, and it's still super fun to play. But before we end this, I should probably mention the HD remaster of Tekken Tag featured in Tekken Hybrid for the PlayStation 3. It's the same game upscaled to 720p with trophy support, but the 1v1 modes were cut. Can't win them all, I guess. It also contains a demo of the then up-and-coming Tekken Tag Tournament 2, as well as the CG movie Blood Vengeance. But that's the story for another day. Tune in next time as we continue the main story in Tekken 4 and see how far Namco was willing to innovate in the new generation of gaming. Thank you all for watching, and have an awesome day.
You win!